Honestly, you're too emotionally immature and narcissistic to begin with. I mean, yeah, I've canceled on 3 concerts now, but I need to set boundaries and protect my peace. Wait, you want me to be more consistent? You know you sound very codependent right now, right? Why did they confront you on my behalf instead of me? Well, because there's a power dynamic and you're kind of toxic, you know? Why did I gossip about you instead of telling you directly? I mean, you would have gaslit me and invalidated my feelings anyways.
You know, the reason why that sounds so ridiculous is because she said the quiet part out loud. You disappeared. You broke your word. You talked behind someone's back. And when they confronted you, instead of taking responsibility, you diagnosed them. Now, they're codependent. Now, they're toxic. They're emotionally immature. They're violating your boundaries. Therapy was supposed to help people see themselves more clearly. But the ego discovered that therapy language could also be used as camouflage. Now you can be selfish and call it self-care. You can avoid difficult conversations and call it protecting your peace. You can punish people and call it setting a boundary. The behavior never changed. Only the vocabulary changed. The ego did not disappear. It went to therapy and learned how to sound enlightened.
Mental health talk was supposed to help us grow, but instead we've weaponized it. Therapy language isn't being used for healing anymore. It's being used for control. And the worst part, most people don't even realize that they're actually doing it. Someone holds you accountable. They're toxic. A relationship doesn't work out and you walk away in pain. They must be a narcissist. Someone disagrees with you. They need therapy. They need to heal. And just like that, we've turned therapy speak into a way to shut people down instead of doing the real work of self-reflection.
The label becomes powerful because it ends the conversation. You see, the moment I declare that you're a narcissist, I no longer have to examine what I contributed. The moment I say, you gaslit me, I no longer have to consider whether we simply remembered something differently. The moment I call the relationship toxic, every action I take afterward can be justified as survival. Surviving your toxic. Listen. That does not mean that narcissism, manipulation, or emotional abuse are imaginary. Those things are real, and identifying them can save people. But a serious psychological term should illuminate reality, not replace it. Because once every disagreement becomes abuse, every uncomfortable emotion becomes trauma, and every difficult person becomes a narcissist, language stops helping us understand one another. Instead, it becomes a courtroom where everybody is the victim, nobody is responsible, and the internet is the judge.
The way that this is used to do so is as a way of manipulating boundaries. What sounds like boundaries is actually being used as a way to control somebody else's behavior, like dictating who they see, who they talk to, what they read, etc. This can often create double standards and is definitely used as a way to invalidate somebody else's experiences or as a way to avoid any accountability or discussion of accountability.
A boundary tells another person what you will do to protect your well-being. Control tells another person what they are allowed to do so that you never feel uncomfortable. I will leave the conversation if you start insulting me. That's a boundary. You are never allowed to speak to that person again because it triggers me. That's control. I need more time before we can continue this conversation. That can be a boundary. You are forbidden from questioning my behavior because I'm protecting my peace. That's avoidance. The difference is agency. A boundary governs your participation. A command attempts to govern another human being. And adding therapeutic language does not magically make control healthy. You cannot put a psychological label on a cage and call it a boundary. It is still a cage.
Second is invalidating or gaslighting. Labeling a partner's valid reactions to ongoing abuse as overreacting, being crazy, trauma dumping, or saying that they're triggered as a way to avoid any accountability. The third is false diagnosis. Misusing different diagnoses, specifically narcissism, borderline personality disorder, and bipolar disorder, again, as a way of discrediting or invalidating a survivor or their victim. And it's used to deflect blame.
The most dangerous moment in an argument maybe when one person appoints themselves the therapist. Now, one person gets to be the healthy observer, while the other becomes the patient. You are not angry because something unfair happened. You're dysregulated. You do not remember the event differently. You're gaslighting. You're not expressing a need. You're codependent. And now your humanity has been reduced to a diagnosis delivered by someone who watched 3 videos and read a list of symptoms. Real diagnosis requires context. It requires history. It requires professional evaluation. They are not weapons for winning arguments. You do not need to diagnose someone to decide their behavior is unacceptable. You can simply say, this hurt me. This pattern is unhealthy, and I will not continue participating in it. You do not need to turn someone into a monster to give yourself permission to walk away.
I'm seeing a lot of times people are going out into the world and they are essentially trying to control the world around them, control people around them in order to help their mental health. Mm-hmm. We want external people to support us, but you're not even supporting yourself. You want people to help you with your depression or your anxiety or your ADHD or your XYZ, but you're not even doing it for yourself.
Now, this needs compassion and nuance. Depression, anxiety, ADHD, and other mental health conditions are real. Folks may need therapy, they may need medication, they may need accommodation, patience, and genuine support. But an explanation cannot become a permanent exemption from responsibility. Your condition may explain why something is harder for you. It does not automatically make everyone around you responsible for regulating every emotion, anticipating every trigger, and removing every uncomfortable experience. Support should help you restore your agency, not convince you that you have none. Healing is not forcing the entire world to become soft enough that nothing ever activates you. No. Healing is gradually becoming strong enough to remain connected to yourself when life is not arranged around your comfort. Your diagnosis may explain the battle, but it should never be used to surrender your inner authority.
And just as a reminder, not everything is a trauma response. Not everything is abusive. Not everyone is a narcissist. And not everything and standard that you set or thing you want is a boundary. Some of you are maliciously weaponizing therapy speak to manipulate and control other people. And some of you are doing it to absolve yourself from any sort of accountability or responsibility. Sometimes life is just hard. Sometimes people are assholes. Sometimes people are trying to control you via boundaries, or sometimes you're trying to excuse your shitty behavior, not wanting to be around people, and then use boundaries as the scapegoat.
Sometimes protecting your peace is necessary, but sometimes what you call peace is simply a life in which nobody is allowed to challenge you. You cut off anyone who disagrees. You avoid every difficult conversation. You disappear whenever accountability approaches. Then you interpret the resulting isolation as proof that you are finally healed. But peace and numbness are not the same thing. Solitude can help you hear yourself. Avoidance makes sure you never have to hear anyone else. Real healing does not make you incapable of discomfort. It gives you enough awareness to move through discomfort without abandoning yourself or automatically attacking the other person. Ask yourself, am I leaving because this situation is genuinely destructive, or because remaining present will require me to face something about myself? Sometimes the person disturbing your peace is holding the mirror you keep trying to escape.
But some of you have taken those tools that are supposed to be for people and have utilized them as a weapon. You've utilized it as a weapon to absolve yourself from accountability. You're utilizing their weapons in order to shame other people or judge other people or to control or manipulate other people. Many of you are feeding into the stigma already surrounding this idea of therapy and talking about your emotions and being open with your emotions. Some of you are contributing to that stigma. By weaponizing therapy speak, you contribute to the stigma. Whether you're coming out of malicious intent or ignorance, it does not matter. The impact of what you're doing is still the same.
Now, most people are probably not deliberately studying therapy language so that they can manipulate someone. They're repeating what the algorithm taught them. And the algorithm does not reward nuance. It rewards certainty. Your partner may be struggling with communication will never spread as quickly as, here are 5 signs you are dating a narcissist. Your friend may need space is less exciting than they're emotionally abusing you. So people begin interpreting their entire lives through a 15-second diagnostic checklist. Eventually, they stop meeting individuals. They meet attachment styles. They meet trauma responses, red flags, and personality disorders. The label arrives before understanding. And when you already believe you know what another person is, you stop being curious about who they actually are. The algorithm gives you certainty because certainty keeps you watching. Wisdom begins when you question the label it handed you.
Not everyone who hurts you is a narcissist. Not every hard conversation is emotional abuse. Not every uncomfortable experience is trauma. When we misuse these words, we don't just distort reality. We make it harder to recognize real mental health struggles. And worse, we keep ourselves emotionally stunted, because when you label everything as harmful, you never have to challenge yourself. You never have to look deeper. You never have to grow beyond where you are today. Weaponizing therapy language doesn't make you heal. It makes you fragile, because the more you convince yourself that everything around you is the problem, the less you ever have to change. Another question for you, okay? Am I actually healing, or am I just giving myself permission to stay the same?
That is the question underneath this entire conversation. Am I healing? Or have I built an identity that makes change unnecessary? See, the ego will accept almost any spiritual teaching, any psychological concept or healing practice, as long as it never has to surrender control. It will call judgment discernment. It will call avoidance peace. It will call punishment a boundary. It will call superiority self-worth. And it will call anyone who threatens that identity toxic. Therapy language is not the enemy. Awareness is not the enemy. Boundaries, not the enemy. The danger begins when tools meant to help you examine yourself are used exclusively to examine everybody else. Healing should make you more honest, not more certain that you're always right. It should give you greater agency, not a more sophisticated collection of excuses. The question is not whether your ex needed therapy. No. The question is, did you use what happened to awaken or merely build a better cage? Let me know in the comments. Have you ever had someone use words like boundary, gaslighting, triggered, or narcissist to shut down a legitimate conversation? And be honest, have you ever caught yourself doing it? Like this video, share it with somebody who needs the conversation, and subscribe to A Wolf UnCaged, because the purpose here is not to exchange one form of programming for another. The purpose here is to recognize the cage, even when the cage has learned how to speak the language of healing. If you found something in this video that sparked a thought, shifted your perspective, or just made you feel more grounded, consider showing some love by buying me a coffee. It helps fuel the channel, keeps the uploads coming, and lets me know that the content matters to you. The link's right below in the description or on my channel banner. No pressure, just appreciation if you're moved to support. And as always, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. I am Tony Victory, a wolf uncaged. Thank you. Peace.